Welcome back. We're going to talk about the Big 12 college football preview. I'm here with...
Oh, wait, I thought you were pointing at him. Crap. I'm sorry.
Just say your name.
Banana Man.
And Dalton.
And as I said, college football, Big 12, going to go in alphabetical order so people don't get triggered about the order and stuff. Yeehaw, let's get into it.
still will,
We're going to
huh?
talk about Baylor. Last season, they did incredible. 1-11.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With a loss to Liberty. Like, who is Liberty?
It's a D2
And not-
school.
Dude, Liberty University.
Not the high school.
is-
Not the high
Yeah,
school.
not the high school either.
Liberty University is sponsored by William Byron, or William Byron is sponsored by Liberty University.
Okay.
Wasn't
Get
it-
facted.
On homecoming, too? It
For
was
Baylor?
Liberty's homecoming?
No, it was.
No,
in
it was
Baylor.
Baylor's
in Baylor.
season opener.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
Baylor's season. It
so-
was, and this was the
No, that was,
It was Liberty's first ever Power 5 win.
are you serious?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Oh, my God.
But so we got a very Baylor-based site here with projections, and they project Baylor to have 6 wins, and I disagree. Do you disagree?
I mean, they can't really go anywhere except better from last season.
I mean, they could lose to
But-
Kansas this year.
Nah, Kansas, they're just good at basketball right now.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think Baylor also beat UTSA because UTSA, they still...
No, UTSA.
UTSA, UTSA is a wild card. They can be good. They can be really good sometimes, and then sometimes they're just like, just your generic group of 5 team.
Yeah.
And then so Baylor starts out hosting Abilene Christian, and ESPN says they have a 99.3% chance to win. But we all know what happened last season to Liberty.
Mhm.
So
And this
don't hold
Baylor,
your breath.
this Baylor website says they have a 100% probability to win. There's no such thing as a 100% probability, but according to Baylor, that's possible.
Yes, there is.
Apparently.
So they're projected to win against Abilene, UTSA, Duke. I don't think they'll win that game. Kansas, they'll win that game. Kansas State.
What?
Wait, what the heck?
They are
Kansas
not going
State?
to beat Kansas State.
Okay,
Not a
ESPN's
chance.
projecting Mississippi State to be like 10-2, with a loss to Alabama and Kansas State, but beating Auburn and a few other good schools. And then they're saying Baylor can beat Kansas State.
well, this is not ESPN. This is a Baylor Bear website.
Well, still,
OurDailyBears.com. Get your facts straight. They're not going to beat K-State. So, I think Baylor will end up going 3-9 with wins against Abilene Christian, UTSA, and Kansas. Banana Man?
Same thing, except they might go 4-8 instead because Texas Tech doesn't really have a good defense, like
No, they
in the
don't.
past 30 years. So
But guns up.
Yeah, they could beat Texas Tech. That's a definite possibility.
it just depends on if
Plus,
their
that
offense
game
can keep up with the.
That game is in a neutral
Each other.
site.
it is in a neutral site, and it's
So.
the shootout. So
You
Mm-hmm.
never know.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I think Baylor will go. I think Baylor will go 3-9. I'll agree with you, Nikolai.
Yeah.
And they are going to beat Abilene Christian, UTSA, and Kansas for sure.
Yeah. Still a rough year for Baylor
But-
after the scandal a couple years ago, but
Oh yeah.
they're slowly getting back up. I guess you could say that.
Last
On
season
to-
they went 1-11, but I mean, from there on it's just forward and onward.
True.
Yeah, you
On-
don't really get much worse than that.
No,
Very true.
you
On
could pull a Cleveland Browns, but I don't think anyone can except UTEP.
What?
All right,
Losing all games in a
all right,
season,
we're
not
just
even
gonna
winning
go
one.
on to Iowa State.
All right, Iowa State
Iowa State. Remember
Iowa
when
State,
they
yeah.
did they
Last
beat
season?
Oklahoma last year?
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and it was in Norman.
Seriously?
Wow.
Yeah, I think the
Oh,
so some interesting things about Iowa State. They got a very good running back and a very good quarterback who is now eligible. Once again, he gained another year of eligibility.
and he also plays
Sixth year.
baseball,
Didn't
right?
know
Isn't
that.
it that guy? Oh no,
That's
no.
the Oklahoma.
That's
quarterback.
Oklahoma.
That's
My bad.
Kyler Murray.
My bad. I was.
We'll
thinking,
get to
we were
him
just,
later.
We were just talking about
Get to him
Oklahoma
later.
losing, so I was thinking about
Yeah.
him. Sorry, that's my
But
fault.
he did pretty good last year. So did the offense overall. They only had one fumble the whole season, and that was in their bowl game with like 2 minutes. So literally the one time they fumble is the most important time of the season. But we're all going to give our takes on the season. Banana Man, would you like to start us off?
No, Dalton can actually.
All right, Dalton.
I'm still thinking. Sorry.
All right, so first off, when you look at Iowa State's schedule, they've got a very weak non-conference, schedule, first 3 games. But I have Iowa State going 7-5, beating San Diego State, Iowa, Akron, Texas Tech, Kansas, Baylor, and K-State.
All right. I'll go next. I got them going 8-4. SD State, I think that's San Diego State.
It is.
Okay, it's San Diego State. So Dalton, good job. I wasn't sure.
Or it could be South Dakota.
Oh shoot!
It
could be South Dakota.
It's
SD State.
Anyway, they're gonna beat them.
They'll beat them.
It's something not a Power 5 team.
They're not relevant.
I think they'll win that. They'll win against Iowa. In bold prediction time, they will beat Oklahoma at home.
Nah.
Last year, they beat Oklahoma in Norman, and that was with Heisman winner Baker Mayfield as the quarterback. This year, they got Kyler Murray. He's not as good. We'll talk about him later in the video. I'll give my full take on that. But Iowa State is at home this year against Oklahoma, and it's not a Baker Mayfield team. So I think that could end up being an upset, and Iowa State could win that game. They beat Akron. I think they get their first. They lose their 3 straight games against TCU, at Oklahoma State, and then home against West Virginia. I think they beat Tech pretty easily. They destroy Kansas. They destroy Baylor.
That's obvious.
The only reason I have them losing to Texas is because it's a road game. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Texas will edge out. And then I have them beating K-State at the end of their season. You're up.
All right. Well, so I think they're going to go 9-3, but with losses to different teams than these guys. So SD State, whoever it is, they're going to beat them and Iowa. And then, do they play Akron before OU or no?
No, they play OU
okay.
first.
I think they'll actually lose to OU. I mean, I'm not an OU fan or anything. It's just it's early in the season, and those teams that are ranked up high, they either fall quickly or they just last. They do really good for about the first 6 or 7 games, and then that's when they start getting upset. So I think OU, it's a road game, but OU's going to start out strong this season and then fizzle out. So I think they'll beat Iowa State. Iowa State will also beat Akron, hosting Akron. I think they'll use that momentum, even if it's just Akron, to go into Fort Worth, Texas, and beat TCU.
Bold prediction from Banana Man.
Bold prediction is OU beating Iowa State.
Well, that's another one. It's not as bold, but it's still bold.
And then I think then they'll fizzle out because, it's their second straight road game against Oklahoma State, and I think Oklahoma State will win that. So Iowa State will lose to OU and Oklahoma State,
So
two
both
Oklahoma schools. And then they'll also lose to West Virginia.
Country roads, take me home.
West Virginia team will be singing that after they beat Iowa State. And then Iowa State, they'll finish off the five rest of the games. Texas Tech, solid offense, not a good defense, so they'll win that. Then they go into Kansas, which is...
That's a joke.
That's kind of obvious. It's a win. Yeah. Then they host Baylor, which is that's another win. And then they go into Texas, and I think they're actually going to come out of Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium with that dub. They're going to silence that crowd. And then they just finish off against Kansas State, and win. And they take that momentum and go to probably some pretty good bowl game.
Very true.
Maybe the Cotton Bowl, maybe GoDaddy.com Bowl.
We've got predictions on bowl games already.
All right.
Who knows? No, that second bowl was a joke.
Okay, that's Iowa State. Moving on to the next team, who is Kansas.
They're trash.
Absolutely.
They don't deserve my bananas.
They are absolutely terrible.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
Moving on basketball.
Yeah, moving on to K-State. Now we have Kansas State. Kansas State, their big news this offseason was...
Is that they're worthy of the banana suit, but I'm just too lazy to put it on right now.
Well, that and their head coach.
Oh, yeah. Bill Snyder. They signed a contract extension with him through 2022. Now in 2018, he is 78 years old and has throat cancer.
Yeah,
Dang, sad. We don't mean it in a rude way. It's just... I haven't seen anyone who signs a contract extension on someone that old in a long time.
But also...
No offense to old people. I'm just trying to be nice.
He's got some very good tactics there.
He is really good.
He was alive at the beginning of World War II.
right after World War II started. So now we are going to go into projections for their season. They got a pretty easy win against South Dakota at home. They have a very tough game against Mississippi State at home. I think if Nick Fitzgerald is healthy for Mississippi State, I think that they will edge out K-State. It's obviously very hard to win in Manhattan.
Battle of the Stakes.
Exactly, Battle of the Stakes. Mm-hmm. But I think Mississippi State edges them out. They beat UTSA. They lose at West Virginia. And then their 5th game of the season, they play home against Texas. I think they will win that. Texas always struggles in Manhattan.
Okay.
And I think that will continue this year. And that they will win against Texas. They beat Baylor easily. They beat Oklahoma State at home. Kansas State is home. They lose at Oklahoma. They lose at TCU. They demolish Kansas by at least 50. 50 points at least.
Wow.
No, it's going to be by 40 because Kansas is still in their home stake.
Yeah, but it's still at Kansas State.
It's the Battle of Kansas.
50.
Sorry, that's not much of a battle.
It can't be a battle. It's going to be a beatdown.
Yeah. And then they beat Texas Tech, and as I said earlier, they lose at Iowa State. So moving on to who wants to go next?
All right.
Yeah.
I got Kansas State going 7-5 as well. And basically all the same projections as Nikolai, except they're not beating Texas at all. So yeah.
If they're not beating Texas, where does the other win come from?
Yeah, that means they're.
Oh, I know that,
6-6.
but I wasn't paying attention enough to know who else you said won. So I'm not gonna repeat something you already.
So
said.
you said they're gonna be 6-6. That means they're gonna be 6-6.
Yeah, they're gonna. Never mind, that's harsh.
That's why your math is so bad.
Okay, we'll just say 6-6.
They're 6 and
I'm
6.
just kidding.
6-6. All right.
Not really.
6 and 6 is 12.
6 and 6.
Yeah, they play 12 games.
I know.
There's 12 games in the season.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God!
I thought you meant like I was leaving
My name's
out
Dalton.
a
I
game.
think Kansas State is going to go like Nikolai said in 7-5, but they're also going to lose to Texas. And, that's not possible. But okay, but for real,
Okay.
Kansas State, they're not a bad team this year, but I don't think they're going to be one of those top tier teams.
Battle.
Yeah, they got a QB battle right now.
Skylar Thompson and Alex Dalton.
Yeah, I didn't know who they were.
Dalton's
Sorry.
more of a runner. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
He what?
He's more of a runner.
But so Kansas State does beat South Dakota. Then they host Mississippi State and lose in the Battle of the Stakes.
Battle of the Stakes!
And then they host UTSA again, which they'll win that. So 2-1 right now.
2-1.
Then they go into West Virginia and lose
Country
because
roads.
they took those country roads and they did not go home.
Their GPS lost signal. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Then they host
Bill Snyder and his ancient technology.
Hey,
Oh
he
my
still
God.
gets some wins. And then they host Texas, which I think Texas is actually going to win instead of Kansas State
Man,
because
that means it would take
Tom,
us 50
Tom
years.
Herman, I think this is going to be his breakout
10.
season as Texas. And then Kansas State goes down to Waco and,
Destroys.
crack of Texas, they just win. Then they host Oklahoma State again, and I think that's actually going to be a loss. And then they go into OU and lose because I think this is going to be the last game that OU is actually going to do. They're going to be their strong OU self before they start to fade. I think, yeah. And then Kansas State goes down to Fort Worth, Texas, down by the stockyards, and loses to TCU. Then they host Kansas, and it's going to be a beatdown.
For Kansas,
Yeah,
right?
for Kansas.
Okay,
It's going to be a brutal beatdown, and Kansas State they're going to Mayweather that McGregor.
What? What?
Nah, that wasn't a beatdown. That was just a joke. It's like...
All right.
Just
anyway,
keep
yeah, I'm
going.
going on.
All
I'm making
right.
bad jokes. And then they host Texas Tech, which that's going to be interesting. Two decent teams, but not like
Right.
super good teams this season are going at it, so that's always going to be interesting. And then they go to Iowa State, and then just answer my results what I said for Iowa when we were going over Iowa State.
Now on to the team that is projected to win the Big 12 this year, Oklahoma. Next we have
Boomer Sooner.
Choklahoma. I mean
Sooner.
Oklahoma.
Nah, just
Ugh.
I don't like OU.
They
That
OU
doesn't go there.
sucks.
They
Oh.
and this is coming from a Texas Tech fan and a
Guns
what
up.
do you
I don't know.
neutral. We'll call him neutral.
At least in the Big 12.
But here we go. We're just gonna get into it. So my projection is that Oklahoma will go 9-3. They beat Florida Atlantic, which is actually a tough cupcake game because Lane Kiffin's team is not that bad. UCLA they will beat at home.
Is Chip Kelly coaching there?
Yes, they'll beat them.
You sure?
Lincoln Riley's an offense mastermind.
I forgot about
but Chip Kelly's at UCLA. He's going to shake up the college field this season.
Shut up, Chip!
I forgot about that, to be honest.
Chip Kelly may not have been good at the Eagles, but I think he's better in college.
Right.
Easily.
But getting off topic there.
But they'll still
you
win.
can go into that in your thing. They lose at Iowa State as I projected as an upset. So they're 2-1.
Oh, wow.
They win against Army 3-1. They win against Baylor 4-1. They lose to Texas. Here's my reasoning. It's because last year with Baker Mayfield as the Heisman winner, they were able to have a pretty close game. And this year they're going against Kyler Murray. I think they got a pretty good shot this year. So I got Texas in that game. So Oklahoma at 4-2. They beat TCU. They beat Kansas State. That is 6-2. They beat Texas Tech 7-2. They beat Oklahoma State 8-2. They beat Kansas 9-2, and then they lose at West Virginia in the season closer. On to you, Dalton.
Alrighty, I have Oklahoma going 9-3 as well, and I have West Virginia. Texas, and Oklahoma State, giving Oklahoma their 3 losses on the season.
Interesting.
All right. I think Oklahoma's going to go 8-4. Nothing against OU. But, I mean, my cousin goes there, so...
I have a lot against OU.
Well, you do. I don't. It's just...
I'm a Texas fan,
I don't think they're going to be as good this season, but they'll still be a solid team. So, I think they'll lose to... So, I got them 8-4. They're losing to Texas. Red River Shootout, Herman. This is Herman's year to win it. Then, they have a 2-game stretch at the end of the season where they lose in Lubbock to Texas Tech.
Bold projection.
Okay.
Guns
Bold
up, baby.
projection.
Nah, not because of that. Because Texas Tech, I think they're going to have at least one good upset this season, and it's Oklahoma. And then they lose in Bedlam the next week, which, Oklahoma State. Hokey pokey. And then they beat Kansas, obviously, and then they lose to West Virginia, because West Virginia, I think, is the best team in the Big 12 this season. Easily.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Moving on to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State.
Hokey pokey.
Start us off.
Turn yourself around.
Just
All right, so Hokey pokey's going 8-4 this season, losing to Boise State, 3rd game of the season. Then they go on pretty strong for a while, then they lose to Texas at Oklahoma State. Then they win the rest, and then they lose the last 2 games of the season when they're hosting West Virginia, and then when they go down to Fort Worth and beat TCU. Or when they lose to TCU, my bad.
Alright, I have Oklahoma State losing to Boise State, and I also have them losing to Texas and West Virginia. Anyway, I have Oklahoma State going 7-5, and their big win of the season is going to be against Oklahoma.
I gotta disagree with you guys on the Oklahoma and the Boise State. I think they beat Boise State. They lose to Oklahoma. I have them losing to. Thanks.
What was that?
I have them losing to K-State, Texas, West Virginia, and TCU.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and
TCU?
Oklahoma.
TCU.
All right.
Sorry.
Moving on to TCU.
TCU. Crank that soldier boy.
Oh my gosh, what was that?
All right, I'll start off the predictions.
2000s reference.
I got them losing to Texas on the road. I got them losing to Oklahoma at home, and I got them losing to Country Roads on Country Roads.
Okay.
9-3, different losses. Their losses are going to West Virginia, Texas, and Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
Oh yeah,
I have them
State.
beating the Ohio State because their whole
Wow.
Urban Meyer.
Well, because Urban Meyer is gone that
For
game.
3
That's
games,
Urban Meyer's
yeah,
last game
that
being
dumb
suspended.
suspension. That was a terrible.
So I think
punishment.
it's gonna be a really good game and like
Honestly,
a
I
shootout.
think it was.
It was a terrible
It
punishment.
should have been
was.
punished longer.
Yeah.
It should-
Longer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
So you support guys beating their wives?
I don't support it,
No,
but
I
I really don't think.
All right, let's not get into that. You give your projection.
All right.
You gotta delete that part.
I have TCU going
You gotta delete
6-6.
that part.
I have them beating. I have TCU losing to Ohio State, Texas.
The Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
Texas.
The Ohio State.
Oklahoma, West Virginia, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. So,
5 and 7.
No,
Bold.
6.
Oh,
6 and 6.
Oh, 6 and 6. My bad.
All right.
Bold prediction, Cotton. Let's see if it'll turn out. If you get that reference, hats off to you.
All right. Moving on to the team that's going to win the Big 12. Just kidding. Texas.
Texas!
Okay, I'm the only Texas fan here.
The Longhorns suck. The state of Texas is a lot better.
All right, moving on.
Amen.
Because
Amen,
I'm a
bro.
Texas fan,
You will go last.
I will go last.
I'm first.
Okay.
All right, let's go. I got Texas actually going with 10-2. Sadly, not that happy about it, but I think this is going to be a breakout year. You can stop having an aneurysm.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so 10-2. I got them losing 2 games. Like I've already said, like 50 times. Okay, so they're losing their first game of the season to the Terps.
Crab.
Oh, wow.
Crab
Maryland
cakes.
Terps.
Crab cakes.
Because I think they got to smooth out some wrinkles
Well,
this
but
season,
dude,
and I think this
okay,
first game is
well,
definitely going to be that
But crab
game.
cakes don't have their coach.
Okay, Texas has to smooth out some wrinkles. They definitely have on
Okay,
offense.
fine. I'll let you do your thing.
Their defense is pretty solid, but their offense is
All right.
butt right now.
I have
And then-
Texas. Okay.
Their second
I
loss.
forgot about that.
You sure did. Their second loss is to West Virginia. Shut up, Dalton. That's not that.
I said my bad.
Oh, I thought you were insulting me.
No.
Well, so yeah, so they lose to the Terps first game of the season. Then, what is that? Ninth game of the season, they lose to West Virginia. So I got them 10-2.
I've got Texas going 10-2 as well, but I've got them losing to West Virginia. And I've also got them losing to Texas Tech. Oh,
What the
yeah.
heck? And you said my
Guns up.
prediction was bold for Tech beating OU?
All right.
OU is so much better.
OU is
No,
OU right
no,
now.
I'm not saying, I do think Texas will beat OU, but that's
OU
only because
sucks.
Red River rivalry.
Yeah,
So-
that's going to fuel everything.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my projection is 10-2 as well. I think they get their they get their revenge on the Crabs. They beat Tulsa. They get revenge on USC. They get revenge on
USC's
TCU.
overrated anyway.
Oh my gosh.
They lose to Kansas State, as I said earlier. They just can't win in Manhattan. I don't know why. We lose to the dude that was born at the beginning of World War II every single time in Manhattan.
That's because old man
He
Snyder.
uses the blitzkrieg tactic.
He's not German.
And
I know.
then we end up losing to West Virginia at home because West Virginia's the only one in the Big 12, I think. But 10-2.
I got him at number 2 in the Big 12.
Yeah, that's pretty safe bet
Got
because
him at
West
number
Virginia's
two.
gonna be better. But yeah.
This is Tom Herman's breakout year.
That concludes the
After being-
horns and Hook'em
Yeah.
horns. We're going to Texas Technological now. Technological of Texas. Start us off with your interesting fact of the day.
Okay, interesting fact of the day, number 1. The Ole Miss and Texas Tech game, the first game of the season tomorrow at 11 a.m., is at NRG Stadium in Houston.
Energy.
Whatever. Anyway, the fun fact is, Lubbock, Texas, up out in the Panhandle, and Oxford, Mississippi, are roughly the same distance from Houston. They're roughly the same. So it's about, even though it's a neutral site, and even though it's in Texas, yeah, I already butchered it, I know. It's the same amount of miles between Lubbock and Houston and Oxford. Whatever. Anyway,
All right.
that's cool.
So do you want to start off?
Oh
with
yeah.
projections?
So I think Tech will go 6-6 this season. With Cliff Kingsbury there. Nothing's nothing's really gonna happen
He
there.
needs to be gone.
So they start off pretty strong, win the
Terrible
first 2
pitch.
games, and then they lose to Houston and Lubbock, and then they lose to Oklahoma State and West Virginia. So they start out 2-3, or extra 2-4, and then that's when they start getting their wins, because that's when they play some of the easier teams. That's when they beat Kansas. Then they lose to Iowa State.
Oof.
The Steak versus Technology. Steaks win, obviously. And then Bold prediction, I said earlier. Texas Tech hosts Oklahoma and wins somehow.
I would love that.
I just think they're going to harness some weird mystical energy and just beat OU. And then they lose to Texas the week after, sadly. And then they went out.
All right. My projections, I got them having a very rough season, and then they finally fire movie star Kingsbury.
Yeah.
They beat Mississippi, but their losses will come to Houston, at Oklahoma State, West Virginia, at TCU, at Iowa State, Oklahoma, Texas, and at Kansas State. But they close out the season with a win against Baylor. So
it's Baylor. That's not really a win.
Shh. It's a moral victory for them.
It's an emotional victory going into the next season.
All right. Well, I got my boys going 6-6, beating Mississippi.
Ole Miss, not Mississippi.
Old Misses.
Fine, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. I don't like Ole Miss. It's just
Lamar.
It's weird calling.
I've got Tech beating Houston. I've got Tech beating Kansas.
Tech is not beating Houston.
And Tech's going to beat Texas and Baylor to finish the season. So, yeah, guns up.
Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. Regular Virginia.
Oh my
God.
Mama,
We're done singing, boys.
We're done singing. To a Big 12 title.
Which we all think they will.
Oh, yeah.
So that's our Big 12 prediction for the Big 12 championship, but we're going to go through their schedule anyways. 12-0. Next.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I got them 12-0 too.
Holy crap.
I originally had them at 11-1 because I thought they'd lose some game this season, but then I saw their non-conference, and it's Tennessee, Youngstown State, and NC State. So I mean, it's not a bad non-conference for the start of the season, but it's just
I think NC State.
It's not stellar against any Alabama or something.
I think NC State, Texas,
or Eagle, though, I'm just saying.
Or Oklahoma State. I think those are their best chances of a loss, and I think they end up beating them because Will Greer's a good quarterback.
Will Greer's going to win Heisman Trophy this year.
I don't think Will Greer will, but I think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He will be the Heisman this year.
I don't know about Heisman.
Oh, yeah, he will.
All right.
He's the best quarterback.
What do you think?
He'll be a
He's
Daniel
the
Bryan.
best quarterback in the Big 12.
Are you saying 12-0?
Yeah, I'll say 12-0 as well.
Man, let's get them Mountaineers happy. We're going to say yeehaw. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you, Dalton. Thank you, Banana Man, for joining today.
Even though I didn't wear the suit much.
Yeah, but still, thank you guys for joining and giving your analysis so that I could have someone else's take on it. It was really awesome to have someone else on the show.
Mm-hmm.
2 other people. You're my 3rd and 4th guest ever on the show.
Yeah.
But I know it was a long video, but if you watched the whole thing, thank you for watching.
Congratulations, you're one of 4 people in the world who did.
Wow.
Yeah, probably. But
including us 3.
That's true.
Yeah. If you want to see another one of my videos, here you go. Here's a college football playlist thing. If you want to subscribe to me, click on my face and just do this. Just click it right there. Thank you for watching.